What's it like to provide law enforcement in a busy school where every day is a new challenge? And it's not always a hall pass and a friendly wave, right? Hi, everyone. I'm Randy Warren. And today we're talking about school resource deputies, the men and women keeping our campuses safe. This is the Well Said podcast with our favorite sheriff, Rick Wells.
Randy, glad to be back. Glad to see you again.
It's good to be here.
You've had, I think, 2 weeks in a row.
Here we go. Right. Where I haven't been off.
Yes.
Yes.
So
yes. We had the holidays.
I'm proud of you.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, good to be here. Very excited to have with us today Lieutenant Julio Jordon, our SRO lieutenant. Very important unit, probably the most important unit with the Manatee County Sheriff's Office because it has to deal with us protecting our children, our schools, the staff. Very demanding, very stressful job, to be quite honest with you.
Nothing more important.
Yeah, we are very blessed to have some of the best deputies in the state that are doing this job. They're passionate about it. They're passionate about helping kids. So just very excited to have Julio with us today.
Lieutenant.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, letting me come over here and talk to you guys. And I agree with you, Sheriff. I'll start by saying what I told my guys all the time. We, law enforcement, walk a thin line. I think my guys, and I tell them this every day, is like, you guys walk a thinner line because you have to deal with the security of the school, getting the rapport with the kids, getting to know them, and getting to know, when they're coming to school and they just don't look right. But at the same time, you have to deal with the politics of the school too. So you have to maintain, and you're representing the sheriff yourself. So they have to make sure that they, they're up to standard too with everything, knowledge wise. And so it's definitely a thinner line for them.
Yeah, great point, Julio. Randy, when I look back at you and I, when we went to school.
It was different.
Right? Things were so different for many of us. I remember going to Manatee High School, 1980. You had guns in the back of pickup trucks, right?
Right.
We had no security.
Yes.
There were no SROs in the schools.
Right.
And really, you never worried about it. And unfortunately, we live in a different time. We take this once again, take it very seriously. Our responsibilities to secure our schools and to keep our kids safe. And I remember after the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School tragedy, that active shooter. I remember the next day sitting with the superintendent and her staff and discussing what we needed to do to keep our kids safe. And from that day on, there were hundreds of discussions and meetings and laws that were passed to do more, to do more in regards to keeping our kids safe. And Julio and his deputies have to adhere to all those changes. They have to adapt to those changes. They have to understand. Every year, it seems like we get a different tweak in the law, and we do active shooting training more now than we ever have in the past. So there's a lot that goes on each and every day, but every year something is added that we have to account for.
And in our career, we've seen it going all the way back to Columbine in Colorado. But this one was probably the one that brought most attention in the fact that we saw just how important training was. Would you agree, Sheriff?
No, absolutely. And what are we doing collectively as an agency and as a county with the other law enforcement agencies to train together, so we're all on the same page? Because when we have a situation where you have an active shooter, you can't wait on SWAT. Mm-hmm. It's the deputies on the scene. It's the officers are on the scene. We go in together, and each one of us have to know our responsibility, right? We have to know what the deputy on the left is doing and what the officer on the right is doing. We all have to be on the same page. So a lot of good recommendations have come from this. A lot of great training, and we can let Julio talk a little bit more about that, because it's totally different, Julio, than it was even 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I will say it's probably different than 4 years ago, sir. I know the Columbine is what put all the school shootings in the media, but it was not until, unfortunately, our tragedy here in Florida that really changed a lot of things. And the mentality, I think, was the law enforcement mentality and how to respond was the biggest thing. And our guys, like I said, they have a very hard job to do, mainly because it's not the same it used to be. Before, we were there to create that gap between law enforcement and the juveniles, just to prevent, juveniles going through the pipeline, well, as we call it, and end up in jail. So we were like mentor and stuff like that. Now we still do that, but now we have to put more emphasis on law enforcement and like the security of the school, because that's us. But our training has changed, and you have been a very strong supporter of us. I've been doing this job now for the last 4 years, and I remember you told me from the beginning, it's like, I don't care how we're going to get it done, but this is not going to happen here in Manatee County. And I took that very seriously, and we have made a lot of changes with your support, to go that way. And one of the biggest changes is our week training with SWAT. Right before we go back to school, our guys get a refresher on their tactics that even SWAT uses and how to respond by themselves to an active shooter. We've been doing law enforcement for a long time, and if hopefully we never have to go there, but we're trained for it. But it's a hard situation. So what we do is we give our guys every tool, every training that we can. That way, if the moment does happen, they don't hesitate. They just go in and take care of business like they're supposed to. And I feel very confident after 4 years that I've been here that we just continue to get better at it. And, when you allow us to carry the rifles, that's just one more tool. And I tell that to our guys, that's just one more tool for you to use, because it's not the same if you hear shots fired and it's a rifle and all you have is a handgun. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes that extra second. And I just don't want our guys to have to think for even an extra second. I want them to react. So if they hear gunfire from a rifle, hey, I have a rifle, let's go. This is what we do.
Yeah, so a lot has changed, Randy. So if we go back to Columbine, the rules in place then was basically officers on the scene, you kind of secure the perimeter, and you wait for SWAT. We can't do that.
Yeah, there's no time.
Now, it doesn't matter. If it's one deputy at the scene, deputy goes in. If it's two of us, two go in. But we're not waiting for anyone. We have to go in. We have to identify the assailant, and we have to take action. And that's how we train. And it's a quick response to get in there and to stop the threat. And, so it's very important that we all, and not just the SROs, but every deputy with the Manatee County Sheriff's Office, they take this training very seriously. They know what the responsibilities are. They know what to do. We go in, we take action. And I'm very proud of our training division and how we have prepared our deputies for hopefully, if an act does occur, we're ready to go, and we know we are.
What do we have in each school for those that don't understand? The amount of schools that we're in, from high schools, middle schools, the amount of deputies, and obviously we work with the guardians that are, even in the lower classes.
So we have one SRO in the high school. So we have one SRO, and then now we have the Evolve system that was implemented this year at the high schools. So we have two guardians with us, and then we have an extra guardian. So at the high school, we have one SRO and three guardians. One helps us out, like patrolling, and the other two mainly they work the Evolve systems in the mornings and through the day. But so we have extra security for the middle schools. Now we have the Evolve system too. So we have one SRO and two guardians, and then the elementaries we just have one guardian that goes to the school, and then they rotate one of the Evolve system machines or a few of them through all the elementaries. So
how many
every
schools?
Day, well, we have 115 total schools in Manatee County, including private schools, over 70 county and charter schools. I believe we have 14 charter schools, and we'll continue to grow because now we got a few more being built. But those are, we we are the liaison for them, but they don't have law enforcement on site. But we help them out with everything we can because they still fall under the school district, and then everything else is just elementary and high schools and middle schools.
And obviously, worst case scenario, we're converging on any one of these campuses, with everybody. So it's not just
exactly
right.
Yeah, and just so you know, Randy, for our audience, under the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act, each sheriff in the 67 counties, I'm responsible for training the guardians. And we are very fortunate, I think Julio would agree, to have some outstanding guardians here in Manatee County. Prior law enforcement, a lot of them came from up north, came to sunny Florida, and they're like, what, not really ready to retire. They're in our schools. They know how to react.
That's excellent.
They're trained. We train them the same way we train our deputies. So they go each and every summer when we have the new guardians come in to replace those that have left. They have to go through a very strenuous training program with us, and they have to prove that they are up, for this job. They got to know how to shoot, and tactically they got to know how to react. So we're very lucky here in Manatee County, and I tell them when I see them that we're very blessed. We're very lucky here to have dedicated guardians who, like our deputies, care about protecting children.
And we pray every day that never gets to that point. But you're dealing with a variety of other stuff every day that's crime related, just mentoring. I mean, the list goes on.
Yes, our main focus is always going to be the security of the school. That's our main focus. But at the same time, then we deal with the mentorship of the students. If we have babes, that's something that is kind of like it takes a lot of our time. Unfortunately, we deal with the babes at the schools. We deal with situations, just normal fights between the students, and we go and help out. Issues with students that have mental health situations, and sometimes they just have outbursts and stuff like that. So we go and help the school out too, and we patrol the schools every so often. We make sure that all the state law requirements are there. They're being accomplished at the schools, like maintaining the gate secure, the doors cannot be open, to the point where and I don't want to get into detail because that's part of their security system, but even if we need some type of sign or tape on the floors and we see that it needs to be replaced, then that's something that we keep an eye on. And we work very well with administration. So, we have a good relationship with them, and they're very supportive of us too. So,
and that was a lot of the discussion that we had back after, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School tragedy is trying to lock down schools. And we don't want schools to look like a juvenile detention facility, but we got to lock them down. So, keeping those doors locked, those outside doors to prevent an assailant from getting in is key. And a lot of times, going back to the old days, a teacher would leave that door open because they were in and out, and nobody ever questioned it. It was never an issue. But now they can't do that. So our responsibility, once again, is to make sure those gates are locked, those doors are locked, and that the only way into the school is through the front door where office personnel are located. And, sometimes we have to remind, school personnel about that. Julio, we got, hey, lock those doors, shut those doors. But that's our job to make sure, because they have a lot going on as well with these kids. And they're constantly moving from one area to another. So we just got to make sure that we lock down the school so we can prevent someone from the outside gaining access.
So it sounds like, in law enforcement, so much stuff is reactive, but it's really more preventative on a daily basis for you guys.
Yes, for us, that's our goal, is to, honestly, our goal is to prevent anything from happening. So I like to tell the guys that we need to make it a harder target to get hit. And we do everything possible, from having our vehicles positioned outside on the right spot. That way, when people drive by from any angle, they know, okay, there's law enforcement in that school. So that's even something as minor as that. We take all that stuff in consideration. And I agree, our goal is to make sure there's a safe environment for the kids to go and learn. So we like to say that it's secure like a jail, but it doesn't look like a jail. So that's kind of like a real balancing point that we have to always keep. But yeah, we keep an eye on all the doors. We go and tell the teachers, we let them know about stuff like that. And then, like I said, I think communication is the best thing that we have with our administration about any safety issues that we see from one of the lights from our emergency system that is not working, that can alert the whole entire school, something like that happens. We do a lot of trainings with them. We do every month. We do some trainings. So that's another thing. The students know what to do. And they shouldn't have to, but unfortunately, that's the society that we live in with the situations that we are. But because we have kids, I have kids in the school system too, and they get trained that, okay, if the emergency room, the light comes on, what do? We got to do this. We got to follow this procedure. So that's a monthly training that they go through. So everybody's involved, not just us, but the whole entire administration, even to the students. And there's been some schools that have taken it a step further, and sometimes they get the parents involved too.
Has threats just been something even more recently?
I totally forgot about those.
Right. And we could talk probably a long time just about that.
Yes.
But it's the world we're living in. It's the social part of that. And I know we've got the app and everything. So
yeah, the 45 Florida is our app where people can anonymous. You see something, say something, and that's an app that gets used. We monitor that 24/7, and we follow. We take every one of them seriously. After 4 years, I can read some of them, and I can be like, okay, I can see that this one may not be the real deal, but that's not what we do. We investigate it just like if every one of them was as serious as they come. So we follow up on every lead that we have all the way until we can unfound it or, talk to the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, we have seen an increase over the years of kids, making threats over 45 Florida, Snapchat, Instagram, social media, making these threats because they got mad about something, not understanding that, there's some heavy consequences here. That's a second-degree felony.
Yeah, it's serious.
You are going to get arrested. So we have really made it a focus for us to educate these young men and women about the severity of making an idle threat. You can't just write something on a social media site and think it's just going to go away. If you make a threat that you're going to shoot someone at school, you're going to blow up a school, even if you're just mad for the moment, you're going to go to jail. And unfortunately, we've had many of those throughout the years where we've had to take, a young teenager to juvenile justice, and that second-degree felony is going to stay on your record. It's going to follow you for the rest of your life. We want to prevent that.
And we keep telling them.
We keep educating. We tell the parents, make sure you talk to your kids that this is so important. But, social media is such a huge part of these kids' lives, even grown-ups. But, they're up there making comments. Somebody makes them mad. They say something that they really don't mean, but it's too late.
How do you guys handle that? I mean, just on a daily basis, you're trying to keep an eye on what's happening physically on campus, talking to kids, observing things that look suspicious. But the social media side?
I do got to say this before I answer the question, that within the last 4 years, and especially with the support of the sheriff, we have done a tremendous job about educating people. And you can see, I receive every one of them. And so, I got firsthand experience on this. And it has the amount of threats that we get have been reduced within the last 4 years. And I do believe it's because the education that we constantly, we do PSAs with you, sir. And, at the schools, we constantly trying to go to the meetings and talk to the teachers and everything else. So we do have seen a reduction on the amount of threats that we get. And I think it's because of that, because they started seeing, because at the beginning, unfortunately, we arrested a lot of kids because they probably didn't have the knowledge of it, and they thought it was a joke. Mm-hmm. And that was like the common thing was, oh, I was just joking. So that was kind of like, but it has changed a little bit. But yeah, with social media, we just keep an eye on it. And the communication with the administration, because a lot of times we get a lot of the information from administration because the parents or the kids, they see it on social media, on Snapchat, and they report it. So I think that's another issue that we have been able to bridge that gap with the students is they feel comfortable coming to us and reporting a lot of this. So, I mean, they see a snapshot that just doesn't look right, and they come to us. And they allow us to investigate it and to decide whether, okay, this is unfounded or, okay, this is serious. We need to follow up a little bit more. But yeah, social media is a different animal.
And why you have to have that rapport with the kids. So
yes.
I can trust, I'm going to go tell Lieutenant Jordan because I know he's
and
easy
our
to
guys
talk
do
to.
an amazing job with that. I got to say
They
that.
really do.
I'm very lucky to have those guys.
So I think that is a very important point that we bring up because these kids, even if they're not telling the SRO, they're telling their parents, "Hey, this is what I've just witnessed, on this on Snapchat, and this kid's making a threat." And then the parents will contact law enforcement. That's all we ask. Just tell someone so we receive the information, so then we can do the investigation and perform the threat assessment.
We've had many cases where it happens that fast.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we're able to start, the full investigation. And, obviously that gets into our
And no matter what time it
detectives
is, too.
Right.
Like
Trying to trace down where it came from. And sometimes it's local, sometimes it's not. And, we try to educate people, too, right, on, hey, listen, we're working it, and we need all the info we can get. What else are you dealing with? You said vaping. What about bullying?
We do get, and bullying is something that within the last 2 years we have been more active with because we realize that bullying is what starts causing a lot of these threats. Because unfortunately, a lot of the kids that make these threats is because they're being bullied, and that's the only out that they see is to actually do that, to get in social media and go, hey, I'm gonna do this, and when we start looking at all these cases, because that's one thing about our guys, they don't just look at the case and go, hey, you committed a crime. We're like, why do you do this? So the why, especially with juveniles, is very important for us. Like, what was the intention? He may have said, hey, I want to kill you, but what took you there? And what we realize is a lot of times it's just bullying. They're being bullied, and that's the only way that they can see an out is by saying stuff like that. So now when we get a case that says, hey, somebody's being bullied, then we definitely jump on it. And we go up there and trying to find out and work with the school to see what we can do. I mean, the school district has a lot of leeway on stuff like this. So it's not criminal sometimes. So there's so much we can do, but we communicate with the school on all those cases.
And bullying's been around since the beginning of time, Sheriff, but is it worse today?
I think it is. And I think it's worse today because of social media. There's a lot of cyberbullying, a lot of things being said over these social media platforms, and we didn't have to deal with that when we were growing up. We may have had a bully was face to face, and usually you take care of it. That's just the way, right? So now
I was thinking about that this
That's
morning.
what I was thinking too.
But now you've got the social media, and it's out there for everyone to see. So now all these other, students of these kids that you associate with, they know you're being bullied and things are being said. And I think it's just meaner. They're just the things that they say. But really, for us though, it's really it's an evolving framework of taking care of mental health, law enforcement, security measures for us. You're trying to perform all these different duties that we were not responsible for, 10, 15 years ago. Now we are. And so those SROs have a lot on their plate.
Ever-changing world, ever-changing way of approaching law enforcement. Like de-escalation is a word you hear a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's real big for us too, because we're grown-ups, and if we have a 9-year-old student that is acting up, and we're trying to control them, using the proper technique, and we get kicked. I mean, we shouldn't get kicked, but if it happens, that's just it is what it is. It's part of the job. So we try to de-escalate as much as we can, but with kids sometimes, when they go on red, they don't listen. So you have to kind of like sometimes just a pat on the shoulder or just like grabbing it, and then that's how it's because usually are unfortunately the same kids that act up. So that's the reason with my SROs having that prior contact with them and the prior rapport. The moment they go like, "Hey, I'm talking to you," like, "Hey, look at me," and it's a different voice, and they know that okay, this guy is there to help me out, or this girl, so they react to us a little bit different than than the teacher. So, but that's the rapport that our SROs have to create before the incident happens. So they're real good at that.
Once again, just another element of the law enforcement responsibility that we were not concerned about when I was growing up, right? So they do a great job, and I think that we train for that as well, about maybe a mental health issue going on with a student, and how we should handle that and take care of them. We're looking out for their safety, make sure they don't get hurt as we calm them down. But let's get back to threats, and I think it's very important. We've talked about this numerous times, Randy, but it starts at the house with the parents. We have to start having conversations with our children about the consequences, with anything at school. But making these threats and comments, and then being taken back that my young child is going to go to juvenile justice should not be an issue anymore. Everyone should know that we are going to take these threats very seriously, but we've got to communicate with our kids. And we should be doing that anyway. And I know this is a hectic world. We get busy. We're constantly, having to do things, and the kids are left at home, and, got parents working 2 jobs. I get it, but we got to sit down and have conversations about the do's and the don'ts, and just making sure, hey, how was your day? Is there anything going on that you want to talk about? Just having that open line of communication, because I don't want to have to send a deputy out to tell a parent that we got your child in the back of a patrol car.
Right, and we've had to go to the homes, right? Especially when you're trying to find out the credibility of a threat, whether the kid has the means to carry out what they're saying.
Yeah, so part of our investigation, or part of what we do is we go back to the house on all of them. If they mention a gun or any type of threat, we go to the house and we try to, the parents will let us in and we'll look around. It's for everybody's safety, and the parents understand that. And a lot of the parents are very law enforcement friendly, and they understand that we're not there to try to take their kids to jail. That we're like we actually want to protect the school, but we're going to protect their kids too. And it's just making sure that they don't have anything stashed in the room that they don't check. And the sheriff is right. Like, they have to. A lot of them do a really good job, but sometimes they something as simple as making a joke in front of the kids about they're watching TV, or they make a joke, and the kids, because we had a case like that where the kid just mentioned something about a bomb, and it was because she heard it from her mom. And we find out about that. So the sheriff is 100% correct on that. You got, as a parent, you got to be careful. But checking. So that's part of our investigation when we do stuff like that. We want to make sure the intent, why they did what they did, and then ultimately we go as a safety check to their house and make sure that, okay, does the kid actually has a gun, has access to a gun? And one thing that I realized lately, not lately, but by going to the houses, is it gives us an opportunity to the parents that actually have guns in their house to teach them about gun safety within their house. Because they can do whatever they want, but then we go up there and be like, okay, well, this is our recommendation. We never tell them what to do. We just go like, our recommendation is, have a lock. Don't make sure that they don't get access to it, or maybe move the key because he sees the guns, because that's the reason he made the comment. But maybe move the kid from where you have it, like, to a different location to keep the gun safe secure, and gives us an opportunity to go above and beyond than just doing an investigation and ultimately the teaching. I think just teaching the parents, teaching the student has helped quite a bit.
keeping our kids safe involves all of us. The SROs in the school, the parents, staff, everyone is working together for that one common goal. And we like the fact that, information is being reported to us. We'll tell you all day. We don't care how small you think it is, report it. Let us know. We would much rather check on it and it be nothing than to find out this information was hanging out there. We could have prevented something from happening. So, just keep reporting everything that you see and hear, and let us make a determination on what needs to be done.
You guys are more than just a uniform in the hallway.
Oh, my guys, 'cause they do all the work for us, and they're master of everything. From being even the ones that are not parents yet, they act like parents with our kids at the school. So you got to have the right mindset, and we've been lucky enough to get a good pool of applicants that have come to our oral boards, and we have selected the ones that we believe are going to do a good job, and they have not let us down. And they got to know from the law to school resources to other resources. If a parent is having issues with one kid that's just acting up and there's nothing we can do on the legal side, then we give them the right resources to maybe get help from Family and Children or any other location. So we had a student that was having a situation where the parents was turning 18, was about to graduate high school. The parents wanted him to leave the house, and there was no way for the student to come back to school every day. And one of our deputies went to our went through us, and we were able to give him a bike so he could ride back to school. And then we put him in contact with other entities to see if maybe we can get him some shelter, because the kid wanted to finish school. He wanted to at least graduate it. So our SRO went above and beyond and took it upon himself to do all this. So that's what our guys have just the right mentality for the job.
Would you say this team is very involved in the community, whether it's a church or various things too, that just kind of are...
They're coaches. A lot of our guys are coaches even for the high schools or the middle school. So they coach themselves. So they're definitely very involved. They have the heart for it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And like Sheriff said, really the one word here is safety. Mm-hmm. We live in an unpredictable world, but people can feel confident, or our listeners, people here in Manatee County and beyond, can feel confident knowing that, listen, we've described some very, very dark stuff that we have to be prepared for, but on a daily basis, our schools are safe.
Yep. Our kids go to school, and I feel like even when we have situations in some of our schools, like I never take my kid out. And it's not because I have firsthand knowledge, because some of them are like, oh, man, I wonder if this is real. But I'm like, no, I have full confidence that my SRO, the school, is going to take care of business. So I tell my kid, it's like, you got to go back to school, because they love it. They're like, oh, well, there's something going on, so can I stay home? And I was like, no, you definitely got to go.
You got some learning to do.
Yeah. Sometimes we find out from our kids what's going on before it even gets reported. Because they're on social media, right? So we'll get that information before. See if it hasn't been reported to the sheriff's office yet, but my son's asking me, hey, what's going on with this? I don't know. Let's check it out. Julio, what's going on?
Once again, we talk about, and especially in our line of business, the negatives of social media, but the communication part of that, the positive is stuff, it travels quick. And we try to use that to our advantage. So we're already on it.
The problem is when that information becomes misinformation.
It does.
That's the problem. When the information is accurate and we can take that and move forward and investigate, it's outstanding. It's when we have to deal with all the other misinformation and dispel that.
It makes our job not harder, but just it adds more to our steps. Whenever we have to make sure, okay, what's good, what's bad. So, that's 100%. Yeah.
I want to get back to what Julio said, because I've been seeing this for a while. Our SROs, if you ever go to a sporting event, you'll see how popular the SROs are in schools. Those kids are coming up to them and talking to them, and they are involved in different aspects of the school day. They are coaching. They're doing other activity. They're around. They're involved. they are a part of the school. And I could tell that the kids and families respect that. And I'm just so proud of the work that they do. And
even in their own personal life, like at church, I heard stories about kids, talking to our SROs, and I heard it before on one of the schools. It was like, oh yeah, I seen you at church, and like they go where they go. And one of my SROs, he wanted to go to a certain school because that was close to the area where he lives, and he knows a lot of these kids outside. So I thought it was pretty cool what he did.
Yeah, that is. And I've seen it too. They're like rock stars, but building relationships that we know are going to make a tremendous impact on their lives. And isn't that what it's all about, Sheriff?
We have grown-ups now that still remember and still communicate with SROs from 15 plus years ago that have that connection. Some of them now work with us and remember those SROs that used to pound those hallways back in the day. We've got a long history of just committed SROs who never wanted to do anything but be in that position and help kids. And that's how you know your heart's in it.
They could be recruiting the next generation of deputies.
They are every day right now.
Right.
You'll see it. When you get back from vacation,
Yeah.
you'll see. You'll see. But yeah.
I got to go. I think
You got a flight?
got a cruise to
Yeah.
get on or something. Oh man, it's great to know though. It is. It's comforting. We see it obviously here in the sheriff's office, but I think that the average person feels good, and that's why this was a good conversation to have today about, be on top of your game as a parent. Be willing to just focus on learning as a student, and don't ever hesitate to reach out to one of our outstanding SROs.
I'm happy you guys allow us to be here because I like to showcase my guys because I see it every day, and they really do a good job.
And you do a good job, Julio. And and folks, just to remember, every year there's legislation coming out. There are changes to the law. They're trying to enhance penalties for those that violate the law. They're trying to enhance safety measures. They're doing a lot. So the school safety aspect of Florida never goes away. Every year they are committed to making school safety even stronger. So we got to pay attention to that as well. But bottom line is for all of us, if we see something going on, we got to report it. If we see something at school, if we're seeing doors open or gates left open, we need to report it. And so we all are committed to keeping our kids and our school staff safe.
Lieutenant Julio Jordon, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Julio, thank you, buddy, and tell everyone that we appreciate what they do because we got the greatest deputies in the state of Florida working right here in Manatee County.
Thank you, sir.
School safety and the school resource deputies that we have, very proud of them. Let us know what you think. We appreciate you tuning in for another episode of the Well Said podcast. And we want you to follow us on our social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and our X platform. We put little promos out there too, so you can get an idea of what's coming up on the next episode. Once again, great show. For Sheriff Rick Wells, I'm Randy Warren. We'll talk to you next time.